Greetings to my channel. I'm almost to 200 subscribers. Thank you so much. So today I'm going to talk about possible Asian Starfort I discovered in my city, Chiang. Here are some photos that I got from 13th Monkey. He's really great, of Saigon, Hanoi Starforts. So what prompted me to think that Chiang Rai could be a Starfort was there's like a wall on the eastern part of the city, but it's actually rebuilt. So it was built in 1987 based on the fortifications that apparently existed. But if we look on this map, we see this point, which is, let's see, Doi Jom Tong. Doi is like a high point. So you see this kind of bastion fort looking kind of structure on this side that still exists. So today I kind of just pieced this all together. I found this hill. I took some photos there. There's a temple on top of the hill. There's an there is a wall there, and I got photos of the wall. But I found this article called On the History of Chiang Rai by Hans Penth, Archive of Lana Inscription Social Research Institute, Chiang Mai University. And I found some really interesting things. So Phaya Meng Rai is known to be the founder of Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai. He was from Chiang. He was not a native of the region of Chiang Rai. Our sources indicate that he was a newcomer and depict him as founder or conquered and uniter of several minor Thai principalities in an area beyond his own inherited kingdom. While on one of these excursions, he found by chance the site of the future Chiang Rai. His auspicious elephant had broken loose and had wandered away. The king traced the animal to the peak of a little hill, Doi Jom Tong, situated on the bank of the river Mekong. So this is the hill that I'm talking about. Thus, at the beginning of the history, Chiang Rai was a little fortified settlement, or Wiang, on Doi Jom Tong. The fortifications of a Wiang at that time seem to have consisted of an earthen wall, with the earth being dug up on the spot, so that while heaping up the earthen wall, a dry moat or trench was excavated at the same time. This earthen wall would run around the settlement, or at least include its most important part, the moat being on the outside. The earthen wall possibly had a wooden fence or palisade on its crest, and it would have had one of several entrances. There is not much doubt as to the identity of the hill Doi Jom Tong, which was the nucleus of the city-state Chiang Rai, because in the extreme western part of the present town of Chiang Rai, there is a hill called Doi Tung. Also, along part of the western slope of that hill, there are remains of an old earthen wall. An automobile parking lot was created in 1987. By removing part of it, the rest can still be seen. This is very interesting. Although at present the Mekong River flows at a little distance from this hill, photographs taken from the air or even a glance down from the hill show that formerly the Mekong passed by the foot of the hill at its northwestern slope. Obviously, in the past, the hill was on the bank of the river, and later the river changed its bed a little to the north. So we always find Starforts next to a river. Doi Jom Tong of our chronicles and present Doi Tung, or Doi Jom Tong in the western part of the town of Chiang Rai, should be one and the same hill. I must admit that I do not clearly understand what the chronicle means when it says that King Meng Rai built his wiang around the hill and made the hill the navel or the middle of his new country, Sadu Muang. We know that in the past, Thai groups lived on not too high hills bordering a plain with a good water supply, and that they built earthen walls on and around the slope of the hills. Very Starfort-esque. But the expression Sadu Muang, country navel, city, state navel, city navel, has so far, it seems, only been found in connection with Chiang Rai. At least I do not know which other northern Thai city-state had a Sadu Muang, a hill that was the spiritual middle or the navel of the country. towns in central Thailand have a Lak Muang city pillar, which is regarded as the spiritual center of the town. And Chiang Mai has its Sao Intakin, Indra's pillar, which is not regarded as the town center, but the city-state of Chiang Rai obviously had something very different, namely a hill, not just a pillar. And then he goes on to talk about the fact that they had aqueducts, which that's kind of why I thought it could be a Starfort, because there's canals on the innermost city. This is interesting. Nice observed that on the latest maps then available, the town was still called, in 1884, so this is after the reset, after the mud floods, the global mud floods. The town is still called the Ruins of Chiang Rai. Ruins. So we can assume this was an ancient Starfort. Therefore, upon arrival at Chiang Rai, he was surprised to see that, in fact, in place was a fortified city. According to him, the fortifications were somewhat dilapidated from resets at certain spots, though nonetheless impressive, and had a circumference of more than 8 kilometers. But once inside the city, he found that most of the space was taken up by ruined monasteries and big gardens. The market was quite well stocked with merchandise and was visited every morning by 300 to 500 persons. However, apart from the market, the city had an air of desolation and solitude. So what do we find in every continent on the globe during this period of time post-reset? Devastation, depopulation, desolation. Same story. Even though obviously this was an impressive fortification, I mean, even to European outsiders. After the War of Liberation from Burma came to an end with the recapture of Chiang San in 1804, the entire region was exhausted and towns and villages were depopulated. Chiang Rai was an empty town for a number of years. It was also utterly devastated and therefore was refounded in 1844. So it's extremely interesting because I thought that the wall that is on the eastern side of town kind of pointed to the fact that there's something more to this. The canals, towards kind of the center of town, Samaki School. But really, it was this Doi Jom Tung that's like the epicenter, and it makes sense because it's right by the river. There's literally a point, like, it's like a point, and they've even, with the road construction, they've made that visible. So, I'm really excited. I really hope this is a Starfort city. It seems that way. The hill where the temple is just completely built up. And I believe that there was a massive wall, and then, after the mud flood, it was kind of buried. There's a lot of trees growing out of it, as you can see here. But you see this perfect point. It's incredible. So, yeah, good wishes for the new year. Really excited. Gotta go to Chiang Mai, do some research on that. Ayutthaya, Bagan, Saigon. I'm gonna go everywhere. I'm gonna see it all. So, I hope you guys enjoy.
ตกอยู่ห้องต่างนะโห